Okay, so welcome back to my trading channel, guys. We're going to be taking a look at my outlook for the markets for the week ahead. I've actually scanned through a couple of markets here, some markets which I will be watching for this week. As a reminder, everything that is published on my channel is for educational or entertainment purposes only. If you need help with like your investments, make sure you consult your financial advisor. I am by no means qualified. I'm just sharing my opinion, my analysis of the markets, as I learn how to trade. Keyword here, learning how to trade. I'm still learning so that I can be profitable later on. But as far as, where we are in the markets, actually, before I do that, there were a couple of questions related to, I guess, my other video, the beginner video on how to set up your charts and stuff. Some were asking me, how do you know once you get into a trade if you're making a profit or a loss? I will be doing a separate video, I think, on that. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't already. I will do a video hopefully this week if I can. And I'll go over, how to execute a trade in the futures market, also the Forex market, because they are slightly different as far as the sizing of your trade goes. So I will be, addressing that question. But yeah, getting back to the outlook, I'm going to analyze the US dollar. Okay, so this is the DXY or DX dollar exchange. So I use this first to get a bias on where I think the US dollar may be headed. If you look at the COT, index indicator here, for the ones who aren't familiar with what COT is, it's the Commitment of Traders Report. So every week, the large institutions have to file a report on their positions in the market. It's a reflection of actual positions in the market. This is how I guess they regulate banks and hedge funds and stuff. But yeah, they have to file their positions in the market. It does lag by a week. And I know some traders say, well, that's why it doesn't work. But you have to kind of think about this, realistically. When it comes to like the large banks and the hedge funds, they don't just turn the market on a whim. What they actually do is they build up positions over time. So for example, let's just say if we're looking at this extreme over here. Okay, so the first time that we hit the red line, so the red line is an extreme for basically indicating sell positions. Okay, so they were building up sell positions in the market here. And you can see what actually happened. Eventually it went down. It didn't go down, in 1 week. It actually took, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 weeks before the market actually went down. So they were building up sell positions in the market, and eventually they pushed it down. And you can see we're actually down here and an extreme as well. So how accurate is this? If you take a look at, I'm going to put markers when it first hit the red line here. Now, just like any other method, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but this is pretty accurate, I would say. So you see how we touched the red line? Look at what price did. Okay, over here too, it went down. We go over here. In this case, it didn't quite work, but eventually it did go down. Okay, and what about over here? So it worked over here. Okay, so you can see it go down. And then here, kind of went down as well. Took a while. And eventually it went down. Okay, so in this case, it didn't work. You can see it actually went down and then it went like sideways. In this case, it went down. So it is pretty accurate. We are at an extreme now, which tells me that there's a good chance the US dollar is going to weaken. Is it going to happen this week? We'll have to see. Okay, so one thing that I also look at, this is more based on Larry Williams, his teachings. So I tend to follow Larry Williams and also Bernd Skopinski. I'm just trying to do that. Okay, so this is the daily chart. Now, what I actually want to see, if I can make this a bit more visible here. What I want to see with the price is actually close below this 20-day moving average. And I also want to see this moving average kind of, turn that way, turn down. I want to see the momentum basically switch. Okay, so it's going to go It's going to close below here. Hopefully price closes below, and then you're going to start to see this curve down. And I'll actually show you an example of what it actually looks like when we get to crude oil. But as far as which currencies I'm going to be watching, let me just go back here, move that. So I'm going to be watching the euro because remember, if the US dollar weakens, the euro will go up. So I am watching the euro because look at this. They are building long positions on the euro. The thing is, if you look at the daily chart, we aren't closing above here. And the moving average is not, it hasn't flipped up yet. So I want to see it go like that. So I don't know if this week I'm going to be trading. The way that it is right now tells me that we could potentially see more downside. Okay, so if we do see more downside, then I will be watching the Australian dollar, which I'll get to in a bit. Okay, so the Swiss franc, you can see that it's telling me to buy Swiss franc, but again, it's not above the moving average. Well, actually it is, but we haven't turned up yet. I want to see this moving average flip up like this. So we haven't really gotten to that point yet. Maybe this week we'll see. Okay. So let's see the Japanese yen. This one is also very extreme. Look at this. But again, I want to see price close above here, and we need to flip up. Right now, it's not like that. So if we do end up going down, you can see the Australian dollar. Okay, so we are at an extreme here. That tells me to sell the Australian dollar, and we are below this moving average. Would be nice to see it like, flip down a bit. But yeah, I might be shorting the Australian dollar on the open. We'll see, where price is. But I am watching more specifically, let me just mark here, the euro, the Swiss franc, and also, the Japanese yen and the Australian dollar. So I'm watching those currencies specifically. I did look at gold. Anyone who trades gold, it's telling me to buy gold, but we have not closed above the moving average yet. So I won't be buying gold just yet. Let's see. Platinum is in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not going to be trading that. Copper, that's telling me to sell, but we are above the moving average. Okay, so crude oil. So I mentioned earlier I would show you an example of what it looks like, when it flips, okay? So in this case, we have crude oil. We're near an extreme here, extreme low. That tells me the smart money is selling. They're building short positions. I think last week I actually mentioned that I expect oil to drop, and you can see it actually did drop. Okay, so then I go to the daily, and you notice how this is curved. It has flipped down, and we are closing below. This is what I'm looking for. The only thing is we've already made quite a big drop. I also look at the 3 SMA. Let me just turn this off here, and we are going to zoom in a bit here. I'm going to show you something that I'm going to look for. Okay, so I actually want to see, on the daily chart, if oil can close closer to the top band, the upper band of this 3 SMA. So if it closes like, I don't know if I can draw this, it's probably going to be terrible, but let's just say, it closes up here somewhere. So imagine if this is a candle, man, that's terrible. I'm trying to draw with my mouse. Now, let's just say it went up, it closed above here. That is when I want to sell. Okay, so I'm hoping that we get like a candlestick up. And then when I short it, just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. Okay, so there's 2 ways you can go about this. If you look at how this candle closed outside of the channel, you would wait for a red candle with a long wick, preferably, and then you would sell it over here. Or a safer route is to wait until it closes below the channel. So in this case, this would have been the safer route. Okay, and then you just basically let it run. You enter, put your stop above the swing high, and then you just let it run. Okay, so in the futures market, you have to close your positions at the end of the day. That's pretty much what I do. You know, if I enter this trade, I let it run until like 4 p.m. and then I close my trade. If you're in the CFD, prop firm, or you're using the CFD market, then you can just let it run more than, a day, because you don't have to close your positions. But just showing you how I enter. Now, I sometimes enter that way. I have also experimented with supply and demand. The only thing with supply and demand is even at the lower levels or lower timeframes, your stop can be pretty big. So that's why I'm kind of exploring other ways to enter the market. And, with time, I'm going to show you that, at a later date, kind of more advanced stuff. I don't want to show that just yet. So let me just go back to this chart here. So I am watching oil. I'm going to watch oil over here. Last week, I made a comment on natural gas, and I said that the smart money was buying natural gas. This is a weekly chart. So I think we were actually down here somewhere. You can see they've actually even bought even more natural gas. Okay, so if you look at what happened, so when did we open up? So this was on Friday. This was on Tuesday. Okay, so look at how much it went up in 1 week. The thing is, we went up quite a bit. We are at the top of this channel here, so I wanted to actually drop down a bit before I start buying. Now, if you're trading supply and demand, I would watch the following zone, because it's quite possible that it could drop as low as this zone here. So let me just mark this off. And I could see this actually going like this. Okay, so I could see it doing that. Dropping down into the zone to collect the buy orders, and then the market will go up. So that's what I'm thinking. And let me just get rid of that. There's not really that many markets I'm kind of watching here. I am watching the Japanese yen, mostly because during the financial crisis back in 2008, one thing I noticed, when the market crashed, more often than not, the Japanese yen strengthened. Now, right now, it's actually showing me that, these guys are buying the Japanese yen. So there's a very good chance that the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, S&P 500, Russell could actually drop. If they start buying, there could be risk aversion, traders getting out of their positions in the market and, basically buying the Japanese yen here. I could see the indices dropping. So I will be watching the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, S&P 500, and Russell. I may possibly short them. It depends. They are in a very strong uptrend, though. It is kind of dangerous. So I really don't advise doing that. But yeah, I will be keeping an eye on that. And of course, the currencies. Bitcoin, based on what I'm seeing here, I would just be shorting the Bitcoin. I mean, where are we here on this? Yeah, we are below. Okay, so yeah, that's what it looks like. So I would say I am leaning more towards selling the Bitcoin, which, if that is true, we may be seeing the market drop because, crypto is a risk asset. And typically when the markets crash, Bitcoin and, Ethereum, all the cryptos, currencies, they drop. Okay, so that is sort of my outlook here on the markets. Very short. I actually did record something last night, my outlook, and it was like 27 minutes long. So hopefully this isn't too long. I'm able to keep things short. And as I said, I will be doing a separate video on how to execute a trade in the, futures and also the CFD markets that I'm hoping will come sometime this week. So anyways, guys, that is going to be it for my outlook for the week, coming up. I will try to keep you guys updated as far as, if things change. And yeah, I'm hoping to reach 500 subscribers. If I do reach that, I might even start live streaming. Let me know if you guys would like to see me live stream the markets. I might need like a prop firm account or something for that, just so that you can see how I execute my trades. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, and until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.